and the honorable members of the Federal Republic, all the members of House of Representatives present, the President of CAN, and all the CAN leaders. I also recognize all the religious leaders, including Venerable Obioma, Onwu Zurumba, the chaplain of Aso Rock. I salute you, sir. All distinguished diplomats, special guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, my compatriots, good morning again. I would especially want to appreciate the members of the planning committee for granting me this rare privilege to speak at this occasion. I was in Ukraine 2 or 3 days ago when I got an email that I may be speaking, and they wanted to know if I'll be around. I say, yes, I'll be around for 2 days before I take off again tonight. And so I know God definitely ordered these steps. I want to appreciate my wife, who is seated there. Please stand to be recognized. The leadership team of Institute for National Transformation and the apostles in the marketplace. These are my friends that has helped me in this journey. I've been asked to reflect with you for 13 minutes on the theme, Sacrifice with Righteousness, a necessary ingredient for national transformation. Sacrifice with righteousness, a necessary ingredient for national transformation. And the theme of this National Prayer Breakfast is derived from Proverbs 14:34, which states that righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. And so the first question I want to ask is, what is righteousness? I looked up the word righteousness in the dictionary, and I have a few definitions to share with you. Number one, adherence to moral principles. The second one says the quality of being honorable and honest. The third definition says is the quality of distinguishing between good and evil, between right and wrong. Another definition says the quality of distinguishing between just and unjust, between fairness and unfairness. But simply put, righteousness is doing things the right way before God. Doing things the right way before God. But instead of delving into theology and definitions, my reflections this morning will be practical. I call it functional or practical righteousness. What is it that we can do to change the course of this nation? What are the righteous things that other nations have done that took them from a state of nothingness to great nations today? After reflecting, I felt like I should share with you the book of Genesis chapter 1. And you ask me why book of Genesis? Because it's a book of righteousness. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 and 2, it reads, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was without form and void. And darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of waters. The first thing you notice is that God created two systems, the heavens and the earth. One of the systems turned out well. Heaven looked like what God intended, but the earth did not meet standards. It did not meet God's expectations. It was without form and void. When I look at Nigeria, and I look at the nation that our founding fathers crafted, I think all of us can agree that Nigeria today does not resemble the vision of our founding fathers. In 1959, during the debate for a motion for independence, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, the former Prime Minister, said, "I am confident that when we have our citizenship, our own national flag, our own national anthem, we shall find the flame of national unity burning bright and strong." 50 years later, the flame of Nigerian unity is flickering, about to quench. The same story in Africa. Every nation you look at, if you compare the spirit that their founding fathers captured in their national anthems, in their codes, everything reflects things excellent. But when you look at facts on ground, they are totally different. I'm not here to rehearse the problems. I think we're here to discuss solutions. And so the question is, what is the solution? How does one take a situation without form and void and make it better? The answer lies in the leadership and the quality management principles that God demonstrated in Genesis chapter 1. A system that transformed a void and formless situation into the beautiful world that we have today. Therefore, I believe we have a leaf to borrow from Genesis chapter 1 in developing our nation. As I reflect with you on what I call God's quality management system, I also want to refer to this book, an excellent book by Lee Kuan Yew. It said, "From Third World to First, the Singapore story from 1965 to 2000. After reading this book, I know and believe Nigeria can change. I know and believe that righteousness exalts a nation and sin is a reproach." So throughout my speech, I'll be referring to this book just to show you that it's not a theory. Genesis chapter 1 is not a theory. It is a quality management system which, if we adhere to, can change our nation. Let me move on and share with you those principles. On the first day, God said, "Let there be light." He looked at the situation that lacked form and void. His first action was to proclaim the future. He proclaimed the end from the beginning. By the time I'm finished with this system, there shall be light. What is the first principle of righteousness? Any nation that's going to develop must have a compelling vision of the future they see. And they must transmit that vision to their sons and daughters. Many a time I wonder, in my wonderful country, which vision are we pursuing? Lee Kuan Yew wrote in his book, when we started in 1959, incidentally the same year that Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa made his proclamation, the same year Lee Kuan Yew said, we knew very little about how to govern or how to solve our many economic and social problems. All we had was a burning desire to change an unfair and unjust society for better. Why did Singapore change? Because they had leaders that had a burning vision to change their nations. They were ready to die, and they were able to transmit that passion to the younger generation. He goes on to say, we had a real-life problem to solve and could not afford to be constricted by any theory or dogma. All Singapore had were hard-working people, good basic infrastructure, and a good government that was determined to be honest and competent. Our duty was to create a livelihood for 2 million Singaporeans. When you look at why Singapore developed, you can definitely see that the heart of the leaders was to solve problems. Principle number 1 again, clear and concise vision. I wonder, Vision 2020, where is it? Has it been lost in the short